The morning sun rose over the gentle waves surrounding Fantasy Island, casting a brilliant golden glow upon the lush green landscape and the pristine white shores. Standing at the main dock, impeccably dressed as always, was the enigmatic host of the island, Mr. Rourke. Next to him stood his loyal and energetic assistant, Lawrence, who was busy adjusting his formal attire and ensuring that every detail was absolutely perfect for the arrival of the day's new guests. Mr. Rourke turned to his companion and said, "I'm Mr. Rourke." "Good morning, Lawrence." Before Lawrence could fully respond to the greeting, Mr. Rourke raised a hand slightly, his eyes catching an unexpected movement near the shoreline, and muttered, "Stop." From the edge of the sparkling water, a figure emerged, moving with an unearthly grace. It was a woman of breathtaking but melancholy beauty, her presence carrying the deep, mysterious essence of the ocean. Mr. Rourke stepped forward, his eyes widening in genuine astonishment as he recognized her. "Hello, Rourke," the woman said, her voice sounding like the sigh of distant waves. "Hello, Naya," Mr. Rourke replied, trying to regain his composure. "Are you surprised to see me?" she asked with a faint, sad smile. "Oh yes, Naya, very surprised," Mr. Rourke admitted, looking at her intently. "What brings you back to Fantasy Island after all these years?" Naya let out a long, weary sigh, looking out toward the vast horizon. "I'm 1,000 years old, Rourke. I'm tired of being immortal. I'm tired of falling in love with sailors. I'm tired of luring them to their deaths. I'm bored, Rourke. And my fantasy is to end it all. I want out." Mr. Rourke looked at her with deep compassion, but his voice remained firm. "Oh, Naya, I can't possibly grant you such a fantasy." "You have to," Naya pleaded, stepping closer, her eyes filled with desperation. "You're the only one who knows how to end immortality." "No," Mr. Rourke said softly but decisively. "Rourke, please, help me die," she begged, her voice trembling. "Naya, the answer is no," Mr. Rourke repeated, standing his ground. Flashing a spark of ancient, regal pride, Naya drew herself up to her full height, anger flashing in her eyes. "How dare you refuse the wish of the most royal princess of the seven seas and daughter of Neptune? You'll regret this, Rourke. I promise you. Fantasy Island will never be the same when I'm through with it." As she turned and swept away, leaving a sudden chill in the air, Lawrence stared after her in utter disbelief. He rubbed his eyes, wondering if he had just witnessed a mirage. "I don't believe it, huh?" Lawrence muttered to himself. "I don't believe it." Mr. Rourke quickly clapped his hands, bringing his assistant's attention back to the immediate reality of their duties. The sound of an approaching aircraft could be heard in the distance. "Smiles, everyone," Mr. Rourke commanded gently, his professional smile returning to his face as the plane carrying their new guests taxied toward the dock. Lawrence looked down at the guest list in his hands, focusing on the first name. "Mitchell Robinson," Lawrence noted, observing the young man stepping off the plane. "He's every bit the efficient banker, but why does he look so furtive, sir?" Mr. Rourke watched the young man, who was looking around nervously as if trying to escape an invisible shadow. Because until recently, Mr. Robinson was quite happy on securing his job. Now suddenly, he finds himself facing a very early retirement. "Retirement?" Lawrence asked, surprised. "Yes. But he's such a young man. What possible reason could his employer have for wanting him to retire?" "Progress, Florence, progress," Mr. Rourke explained with a touch of philosophical irony. "You see, Mr. Robinson may soon be replaced by a computer. Since his work gives purpose and meaning to his life, the threatened loss of his job has made him feel obsolete. His fantasy is to feel a purpose in life once more. To feel a whole man again." As Mitchell Robinson walked down the ramp, Mr. Rourke stepped forward to greet him and the other arrivals with open arms. "My digital guest, I am Mr. Rourke, your host. Welcome to Fantasy Island." The weekend events quickly got underway, and soon, a gathering was held in one of the main pavilions, where an ambitious corporate representative named Charlene Hunt was proudly presenting a state-of-the-art technological marvel. Standing beside the large, sleek, metallic structure, Charlene smiled confidently at the gathered audience of financial professionals. "The XB500 can perform many banking functions," Charlene announced, gesturing toward the smooth control panels. Now let me show you just a few of them. It will receive and credit deposits. Standing near the back of the room, Mitchell Robinson nudged his loyal assistant, Laura Martin, who was watching the demonstration with a mixture of apprehension and concern for her boss. Well, take a good look, Laura, Mitchell whispered bitterly. That's the competition. Cold, calculating, heartless. Laura looked at the flashing lights and spinning reels of the massive machine. It is quite imposing, she whispered back softly. I don't blame Mr. Robinson for being intimidated. Charlene Hunt continued her presentation, her eyes scanning the room to gauge the interest of the prominent figures in attendance. Ms. Hunt is determined to sell the computer to these members of the banking community, including Mr. Clifton Forbes, who owns the company that Mr. Robinson works for. Charlene moved to another section of the display, which was covered by a velvet shroud. Now, over here we have a portion of the computer, excuse me, which we will unveil tomorrow night, she said with theatrical flair. This module can perform even more sophisticated tasks. With Mr. Rourke's cooperation, I have arranged for the XB500 to handle all of the banking needs of his guests this weekend. And tomorrow night, with the help of Mr. Robinson, I would like to demonstrate how the XB500 computer can perform all the same functions he does as assistant loan manager at Pinnacle Savings. Laura turned to Mitchell, offering him a warm, reassuring smile. Don't worry, Mitch. No machine could ever replace you. Mitchell looked over at his boss, Mr. Forbes, who was nodding in approval at Charlene's presentation. Mitchell's heart sank. Better take another look at Mr. Forbes, Mitchell said quietly. I think I've already been replaced. After the presentation concluded, the crowd dispersed, but Laura followed Mitchell out into the courtyard, calling after him as he walked away with heavy steps. Mitch! 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 Mitch, look, I know this was a bit of a surprise, but why not cooperate? Mitchell stopped and turned to her, his frustration boiling over. That's like asking the condemned man to dig his own grave. You could work with the computer, Laura reasoned gently, trying to make him see the positive side. You have more information about Pinnacle's clients than we could ever compile. Rose, I don't want to, Mitchell said, shaking his head. Why? Laura asked. Fight progress, Mitchell replied stubbornly. Why not join it? Laura suggested, placing a supportive hand on his arm. There could be a place for a man of your talents. As a matter of fact, why don't we discuss your future at Pinnacle over dinner tonight? My bungalow? Before Mitchell could answer, Charlene Hunt walked up to them, a dazzling but calculating smile on her face. Thanks, but no thanks, Mitchell said, looking from Laura to Charlene. You know what they say. Three's a crowd. Charlene tilted her head, amused. Three. You, me, and the computer, Mitchell said flatly, before turning on his heel and walking away, leaving both women standing in the courtyard. Later that afternoon, Mr. Rourke was walking through the manicured gardens when he noticed that Lawrence was looking around anxiously, shaking his head and muttering to himself. You seem unusually preoccupied today, Lawrence, Mr. Rourke observed. No doubt, just overworked, sir, Lawrence replied, rubbing his temples. I seem to be suffering from a mild hallucinatory symptom. You, Lawrence? Mr. Rourke asked, surprised. Rourke, darling, a familiar, melodic voice called out from behind a nearby hedge. Naya stepped out onto the path, wearing an elegant dress but walking with a slightly awkward, halting gait. I came to see if you changed your mind about my fancy. As you can see, I've learned to trade my beautiful tail for these awkward legs you mortals insist on wearing. Mr. Rourke looked at her with a calm, knowing expression. Yes, apparently you've learned a great deal about magic, Naya, but still very little about unselfishness or good manners. Naya tossed her hair back proudly. Now, Rourke, I promised myself to be above common anger, no matter how justified. Lawrence, feeling extremely uncomfortable in the presence of the Sea Princess, cleared his throat nervously. Excuse me, sir. Yes, Lawrence, Mr. Rourke said. If you don't mind, sir, I'll be off to replan the dinner menu, Lawrence said quickly, backing away. I'm changing the entree. I had planned on fish. Naya's eyes flared with sudden rage at the mention of the word. Fish. Fish, she gasped, outraged. She raised her hands toward the sky, calling upon the ancient powers of the deep. Now, Naya, now. Oh, Father Neptune, your royal daughter asks that you teach a lesson to he who has just insulted her. I warn you, Naya. Now. Suddenly, a localized torrent of water splashed out of nowhere, drenching Lawrence completely from head to toe, leaving a tiny, shimmering minnow wiggling on his shoulder. Lawrence stood frozen in shock, water dripping from his nose. It seems I've been struck by a wave, sir, Lawrence said, his voice dripping with dignity despite being soaked. No doubt an isolated thundershower, Lawrence, Mr. Rourke said calmly, without missing a beat. Now, why don't you put that minnow in the pond and change into some dry clothes? Yes, sir, Lawrence replied.